Did y'all see you see the news about the Superman casting, the live action stuff?
Oh, right. Who
Yes.
is it? It's Hal Jordan is gonna
No,
be.
Killian.
not Hal Jordan. He's playing Guy Gardner, and he's gonna have a bowl cut.
Are you kidding?
Nope,
Who?
I just assumed Hal because they went with
nope,
Fillion.
nope. He is Guy Gardner, and they've confirmed he is gonna have a bowl cut.
That's actually even funnier. Casting him as Guy
Not
Gardner as
Guy
some sort of
Gardner.
middle finger is
Yeah,
kind of hilarious.
genius. Because
Oh, it's
I was
beautiful.
I was like, oh, he'll make a good Hal. Everybody's been expecting that. Oh shit, he's playing Guy Gardner. That's great.
That's
And he's, we know he can play smarmy. He'll bring in the Captain Hammer charm. It'll be
Oh yeah,
perfect.
like Nathan Fillion is the only thing he's plays better than a character that everybody loves is a character that everybody fucking
Everybody
hates.
Right.
Episode 443 of the TV News, recorded July 12th, 2023. My Adventures with Superman. This week, we're talking about My Adventures with Superman on Max and The Horror of Dolores Roach on Prime. Plus, we've got Secret Invasion for dessert. Before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the
Are
TV
you?
Dudes.
I thought I saw 2 or 3 of you out in public earlier. I don't know if are you?
No,
Scroll,
I'm
Nick?
just very generically white.
I think you're Skrull.
I kind of
I'm
look.
on
I'm
to
not
you.
like if it's basically like seeing Sam Worthington, and you're not 100%. It's not Scott Eastwood.
Right.
Hey, do you know who I saw the other day? Neither do I, but it was somebody. It was one
all
of
you
them.
know, all you know is that you're in for a disappointing movie.
Unless, too bad. It could be also Taylor Kitsch. Oh nope, you're also not good in that one.
Yep, yep.
Or it could be Jai Court. Nope, I see what you're saying now.
No, see, Kitch and Courtney have figured it out because like Courtney swolled up and now he stands out. He's hulked out a little bit.
Yeah.
And Taylor Kitsch did Koresh, and now he's kind of rangy.
Maybe that's why we'd never bothered to tell the difference between them, because it never matters. It doesn't. You don't feel the need to tell the difference between them because it's not like Logan Marshall Green and Tom Hardy. Like one of them's going to be in a better movie. They're all going to be in the same level of movie. It doesn't matter.
That's a budgeting reason. That's like a Skeet Ulrich Johnny Depp thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit up our TV appetizers. Let's get our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Oh, dude, we just came from one of the best comedies of the summer. I'm going to say right now.
Yes, absolutely, hands down.
Joyride.
Okay.
Joyride's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Woo! Well, obviously, grain of salt, we were sold immediately because it bought us a half an hour of watching because it immediately starts with child violence.
You're good for your whole first act if you'll just have some kid on a swing set kick another kid clean out of frame after he gets punched in the throat.
There's a line later in the movie that makes sense now to me, watching I feel pretty good right now. Like watching a kid fall into a manhole cover good. You know, that little bastard deserved it.
Oh man, there's great physical comedy, there's great lines, all the performances are great, all the casting's great.
Also,
One of the writers are crazy. Yeah, one of the writers are Crazy Rich Asians. I think this is funnier,
yes.
and yet still has a good family.
Well,
lesson.
also it could be that this seems to it has Asian culture and that sort of stuff jokes, but it seems to be like Crazy Rich Asians. I definitely felt like this is really funny and important, but also as a white person having no contact
Not
with
for
any.
me. Yeah.
A lot of these jokes are specifically to that culture of and there's a couple of those in there that where they're talking about how Asian is your grandma? My grandma's so Asian. She has a plastic bag for her plastic bags.
And it's great because they end a your mama fight with all of it being so true that midway through one person goes, "Fuck you, don't act like you know my family." And it's great. It's Stephanie Sue and Sherry Cola and Ken Leon. Everybody, their dog is in this. It's fucking awesome.
Also, it's like I guess racist humor is okay if it's coming from Asian people. oh, those are Shanghai Chinese. They're like fancy. Oh, those are Hong Kong Chinese. And they're like, oh, what kind of Chinese are those? Are you trying to get canceled? Those are Koreans. God damn
Oh
it.
man.
You can tell because all their faces look the same.
Just right, and then she immediately makes this like, yeah. There's a lot of, oh man, the jokes are quick. It's fucking funny. It's cut together great. Hour and a half long and an absolute joy. I really I laughed hard at No Hard Feelings. This was funnier. Between the two of them, there's 2 great comedies out this summer, but Joyride is hilarious.
Also, an intensely Korean rendition of WAP.
Oh my god.
Man,
Oh
you
my
guys-
god, that ends in one of the funniest fucking scenes.
This was-
Holy shit.
This was on my list to see anyway, but you guys may have just moved it to the movie theater. to
Oh
watch it.
man,
Dude,
it's
Get in there
wonderful.
and watch it. It is fucking worth it.
No, like the whole ride. It's one of those comedies where the whole ride home, Nick and I were like, "Oh my god!" And then that, holy fuck! But then that part.
Did you hear that Splinter joke? Yeah, I felt seen.
Yep. Oh man, I'm glad we were the only people in the. I mean, I'm not glad. I want this movie to do well. I'm sorry we were the only people in the theater, but also we were the only people in the theater, and I was braying laughter.
All right, I'll check it out then.
Also, it was another week of me and Les showing shit to each other. I like that we I don't know, we don't plan it out, but Les and I have like a weird balance of okay, and, today is the day of the week that we watch a movie we both haven't seen, but
Yeah.
we've heard stuff about. Okay, now is the thing of where we try and find something terrible.
Yes.
Here's the one where I show you something that I can't believe that you haven't seen, and then you show something you can't believe that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so in this week we watched one we both hadn't seen, but we heard stuff about, which was Ghosted, with Chris Evans and what's her name? from
Oh
fucking Knives
yeah,
Out.
Ana de Armas.
Ana de
Yeah.
Ana
Armas.
de Armas.
I
Yeah,
heard rough stuff about that.
yeah, it's I mean,
That should work. Like they had chemistry.
should
in
work.
Knives Out.
That's-
It should work.
Honestly, it's what makes it worse. Is that you've seen these people have chemistry. You know they can.
the edit is weird.
Yeah.
It's not edit like the edit is it's not like a comedy. Like it's if you shaved a couple, it wouldn't save the movie completely, but I could make this
Right.
movie into like a B+ movie with shaving a couple seconds off of a couple almost every scene,
Like
some
every
places,
reaction.
so that so
everything
that the
is just
jokes
a
hit
little
little
slow.
harder.
Yeah, it's all just paced wrong. Towards the end of the second act, they get a couple of crazy things going, and suddenly the movie
Yeah,
They-
once the spy
they
stuff
have this
starts to
running they have
happen-
this running joke where there's a bunch of bounty hunters after them at one point, or like other
Oh.
hitmen after them. And so you get all these crazy cameos just fucking one after another because
Yeah.
like a hitman shows up or a bounty hunter shows up, grabs them, gets killed. The next guy collects them, gets killed. Next guy collects them, and
Yeah.
they just keep doing it.
The Russo brothers don't direct it, but they are producers, and they obviously called in favors from all the fucking Marvel actors.
Yeah.
It's like Anthony Mackie pops up for a second to get killed by Kumail Nanjiani, or was it?
Something
No,
like that.
John Cho.
John Cho. And like so
That is
so there's all this just
weird.
great but during all of the background of that, they're still having the same joke conversations they had earlier, and now it's working because there's enough shit going on to
Yeah,
have the chaos. But like earlier in the movie when it's just supposed to be a rom-com, it's painful.
well, Chris Evans comes off as a real
weird.
needy stalker type dude.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like, fuck, I really don't like this guy.
Man, that's hard to sell when you look like Chris Evans.
It really is, but like it
makes him, like,
still doesn't work.
distinctively
Like
less
I don't care
hot.
how attractive you are. I went out with a girl once, kind of like it's more like you day drank together and just hung out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then like literally that's the one time, and then you show up in London and surprise her. That's insane.
That's crazy.
that's-
yeah.
That's crazy. And so it was like, man, you are starting from a hole here, buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to dig yourself your way out, which he does manage to do after a
Mhm.
while.
He is one charming motherfucker.
But there's a better version of the movie because Les showed me right after that Lost City, which had Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. And that was a much more charming version of like Sandra Bullock's the one that's kind of mean in that one.
Yeah.
which Ana de Armas is mean through all of Ghosted because she's the professional, like CIA badass, and he's a
Yeah.
schlub that followed her.
So
And that
like,
and that's
again,
what
this is kind of
yeah,
a casting problem because
because
if you cast Chris Evans as your know-nothing schlub who's desperate for love. I'm like, have you seen the guy? Like,
he's pining over this breakup, and like, I don't know, almost at the end of the first act, Nick looks at me and was like, I know we haven't met his ex, but I'm kind of siding with her.
I'm siding with
feel
her.
like,
yeah.
I feel like you're a lot, man.
I know nothing about that relationship, and yet still, I feel like.
Whereas in Lost City, Channing Tatum is just the Fabio book
Yeah,
photo
he's the book model.
on her books,
and she treats him like he's stupid, which he is stupid, but he's so nice,
a fair assumption. He's a puppy dog, but she's been actually kidnapped, and he has no skills that could help in this situation, but yet comes after her. Like it sets up a very similar situation where there's at least competent people around, and he's not one of them.
It makes you go, it's like Chris Evans, you go, geez, what is wrong with this guy? And then Channing Tatum, I'm like, oh, you poor, like, why are you being so mean to him?
That puppy dog is going to get killed in the struggle.
It sounds like they had a lot of money and a lot of people, and they made shit. And that kind of thing makes me angrier.
No,
do you mean
by the end
Apple?
of Ghosted, we were frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
These are
an
people
Apple
you've
project
seen
you
have
just described.
chemistry.
But
Yeah, this
Netflix
cost a
Netflix
fortune.
does it too. Yeah.
Yeah. To watch charming people that you've seen work together well before, just not.
Randy, I'm going to say this and you're not going to believe me, but fucking Gray Man was funnier than Ghost.
Yes.
That is rough, man. Because Gray Man is like beige.
Killed
But
a bit of
this-
my
yeah, this
soul
sounds
to
worse.
look at Nick midway through and say, I'd rather be watching Gray Man right now. I can't believe
God,
it.
that is oof. Yeah, this confirms my decision not to watch this movie because I
No,
was like,
you're good.
man, I love Anna de Armas, I love Chris Evans, but this
Yeah, you're
the
fine.
bad press was rough.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Chris Evans can't fucking Captain America save every movie he's in.
Right.
Well, I just besides, he was great in Knives Out, and I was like, oh, he's gonna have a good career post Captain America, and then like, man, is he?
I mean, he can do whatever he wants,
Yeah,
but yeah, this didn't work.
Yeah,
I seriously feel like they ought to teach it in editing classes. It's like, see, this is what a quarter second will do to
Yeah.
a joke.
Oh, but you know who can seemingly still save a movie is Dave Bautista, because I showed Les Hotel Artemis because he had not seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
It's pretty
fun.
Probably not your level of movie, Randy, because it really is more. It's basically more off of the idea of the
Continental.
Hitman Hotel from John Wick.
If
but
the
it's a
Continental
hospital.
had a hospital, yeah,
The trailer was fun. Yeah,
if there's a John Wick hospital, and it is fun.
Everything with Dave Bautista is absolute gold.
Jodie Foster's fun.
What's his name as the lead? Fucking, damn it! I want to like.
Well, Jeff Goldblum's the villain.
Brian Tyree Henry is his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling K.
is
Brown.
the lead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he does a great subtle delivery of like as the situation just gets worse and worse. He has a great subtle of like just he says fuck in a great way. Like his delivery on fuck
Yeah.
is great. Sophia Boutella is also in there, but yeah, just Dave Bautista is the shining star of like I am a healthcare professional, but that knowledge goes both ways. You tell anybody about this place, I will count you down and unheal the shit out of you.
It's great. Yeah, he's got this whole little speech of like, you see this badge? This means I'm a healthcare professional. But that knowledge goes both ways. It's great. But yeah, coming off the heels of that, I was like, man, have you seen the other like that? I think that, Nick, you said that was kind of your movie where you were like, outside of Drax, like, shit, man, Batista might be all right. And mine was Stuber. That was his John Cena moment for me of like, holy shit, dude, you might be okay.
No, I think Dave Bautista's like a legit, really good actor.
He is. I like him.
Wow, you guys watched a bunch of movies I've been deliberately avoiding this week because I see 65 on your list.
Yes.
So 65 is an interesting one.
Is it? That is not what I've heard.
Well, I mean, the movie itself is not as interesting as the experience of watching it, and Adam Driver is actually very good. He's giving a very, very good performance in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like Adam Driver as like he doesn't, like Les said, he doesn't always work in the whatever you're doing, but he's doing this subtle. He's just a truck driver basically trying to transport these people across. So he's kind of out of his element, and him fighting.
He's not like a
monsters.
mercenary there to save them or anything. He's just the driver of the truck full of cryotubes.
Also,
basically.
his reactions of what aliens coming down to like what they would think dinosaurs of, like they have never seen a dinosaur, don't know what a dinosaur is. Like his reactions are, "What the fuck is this planet? This planet sucks."
Right.
So that was
like everything sucks.
based on the trailer. That was the question I had. I'm like, wait a minute. So he's 65 million BC, but is he? He's not from our future. They're aliens. They're like human-looking
They're
aliens.
aliens. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a twist. It's not a twist that he's like from the future somehow or anything.
No. He's just literally like an unmapped asteroid belt. He clips his ship and he gets crashed here. And the ship gets broken too, and he needs the other half basically has a few miles to walk, and that has the other pod, like the actual
They play it a little
pod.
cute in the beginning, but as soon as the opening title credits, it goes 65 million years BC
Years ago.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
They don't play it coy.
it's not a twist at the end or some M. Night Shyamalan bullshit. Like, you know what's up. Like,
you know they're dinosaurs, but he doesn't at all.
Oh, he doesn't know what the fuck. Like, he just says like there's something alien outside, and like he has to like a T-Rex.
Like,
keeps
atmosphere's
fucking hunting him.
breathable, but what the fuck is that? Yeah.
They help a baby dinosaur only to watch it get ripped apart and eaten by other dinosaurs.
I mean,
Again,
like a moment later.
And I was like, oh, child violence for me also transcends against species, because that was hilarious.
Yeah. It was fun. I can see why people might have gone to the theater and been like, this is not the Roland Emmerich movie.
Because it's Adam Driver and one little girl that he has to help get escape. There's no body
It's a bit
count.
more enemy mine in that regard. Like it's a lot more of a feels movie.
If you're going there for like a B movie like Kong Skull Island of like, shit, there's dinosaurs going to be eating people, there actually isn't a lot of that. There's some action and the dinosaurs look good, but it's really like a Last of Us kind of like, can I get this girl that I got to connect with, and she doesn't speak my language, and I'm dealing with my own shit from the girl I left back home, and there's like, it's a weirdly personal and small, intimate story between those two characters in a dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
An interesting choice that I don't think I would have made with that level of budget. I can see why.
By having literally no one survive the crash except like him and this like one person, you also it cannot be a movie full of dinosaur kills. There just aren't people. So you miss out on a lot of that.
Then we watched some After Party. It dropped, what was it, last night?
Yes.
I have not watched After Party yet, so don't tell me anything yet.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to, but I had to watch the last third of Gangs of New York for our Patreon.
Sure, that takes a long time.
Yeah, and by the way, I do feel cheated, and I hope patrons appreciate my sacrifice.
It's like 4 days.
Well, I was going to wonder,
man, I would so much rather have been watching the After Party.
I mean, thank God we're given Adventures of Superman its own week to talk about it, and it gives us an extra week to like catch up on After Party. But we could have honestly done the main show on just After Party with the 2 episodes they dropped, because it comes back very strong.
Sure. Good. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I loved After Party.
And Stingray is in it from.
I don't want to spoil it, Randy, but there's a murder.
Oh, a murder!
Yes, a murder.
Yeah, all the new characters they bring in, like, are John Cho, fucking.
Don't spoil. So if he hasn't got it from the trailer, I didn't know.
Okay.
Seriously, don't talk about it.
I've not watched any trailers, so
my bad.
Skip After Party. Yes,
I thought you at least watched the trailers on it.
No, I haven't watched anything.
I didn't know shit about it. I hadn't watched anything on it.
Nope, I knew I was going to watch it. I managed to avoid the trailers. But as I look ahead, like what we're going to be talking about, like After Party, What We Do in the Shadows is coming back, Justified's coming back, Futurama, Minx, Special Ops Lioness by Taylor Sheridan. Man, there's a ton of good shit coming up in this month, which is good because we're probably running out of the pre-strike pipeline.
July, baby.
We should enjoy July and August. I bet by September.
Yeah, I watched, as far as stuff that I did not watch with Les, I finished off the latest episode of Hell of a Boss, which was pretty fun. They gender bend the 2 married couple in it so that they can infiltrate as brother and sister, only to make out at the end and get canceled for incest. I watched Blood Lad, which is an anime about a vampire.
Okay, I thought maybe it was a little-known Legion of Superheroes character.
Right.
It does sound like that, right? Like Blood Lad. I looked at you guys, and you were like, you were looking up like, wait a minute, Blood Lad. Do I know that guy?
Yeah, if there was a Legion of Superheroes vampire called Blood Lad, I wouldn't blink an eye.
No, he's a vampire that finds a human in the demon world and has to like help her get back to the human world, or no, get back resurrected because she immediately gets eaten by a fucking plant monster and has a very cute skeleton. It's like, oh shit, I left her for like 5 seconds, but this is the demon world. I'm fully caught up on Ruby, so it took me like finally like 7 years, but like I'm finally actually back to being caught up on it, which is I just got back in time for the filler fucking arc of like that has nothing to do with the main plot. But I am current. I watched. Now this is a really interesting one. I found on Tubi something called Transylvania TV, and it is a puppet show, not unlike the Muppet Show, because they are putting on television. Like they are trying to put
they're
on
running a cable access TV show or TV channel. Yeah, it's like UHF but with puppets.
Called Transylvania Television or TVD. And it has an abominable snowman in it that is like the main character, but he's orange. And they ask him why
is he orange, Nick?
Well, because he's albino. He's an albino Yeti.
That's not how any of this works.
Yeah, there's a vampire running things. It's goofy as shit. It was fun.
How are you with delegating? I don't know. How about you? How about you answer that? But my favorite one has got to be the Frankenstein's monster tries to buy a drink in a bar and has to present all of his IDs for every part of his body.
Oh, jeez.
And most of him is old enough to drink there. But his right hand isn't.
His right hand. I'll just leave my right hand outside the bar. That's not how it works, buddy.
He's like, what are you talking about? My right hand is totally old enough. Look at this mustache. He's got the mustache on his hand. What are you talking about? This right hand was old enough to fucking fight in your war and not old enough to drink. Hey, don't you talk about war to me, buddy. I was in the Transylvania or the Canadian drop force of Transylvania. Like, I guess it devolves into a fight. Listen here, you sons of multiple bitches. You take your underage hand and you get the fuck out of here.
When I showed you UHF and you were like, "This is the most less thing that I've ever seen," I could see why this is formative for you. When you showed me back UHF but with puppets, it felt like the most Nick thing I've ever seen.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything I watched.
Let's see. I alongside Lisa watched some episodes of Bake Squad. Which is my kind of competition show. It is 3 people who are exceptional professional bakers that work alongside the woman that runs or created Milk Bar, and so all of them are top of their game. And people come in with like hey, we're doing a bar mitzvah for our kid. This is the theme or what he likes or whatever. All 3 of them put up their own ideas. The person picks one, and that person takes a photo and puts it on their wall. That's the prize. There's no real competition. They all want to help each other. They're all fucking great at it. There's no like nailed it, bad anything. Like they are badass at their game. Like if one of them wanted a confetti cannon to like blow out the top of this cake, and they bring in the cannon and everything, and like she's like, hey, all those chefs, can everybody help me for a moment? Everybody puts their shit down and comes over there and helps her figure out like what's going to be best exploding out of this thing.
Well, wouldn't confetti ruin anything you're about to eat?
They end up doing sprinkles.
Got it.
Like they go through a couple different types of sprinkles and gumball. Yeah, like the first they tried gumballs and I'm like, that's not gonna. If that does work, you're gonna hurt people. Like, but yeah, it's still a competition baking show. So it's always gonna be kind of mid tier for me, but really cool. I quite enjoyed it.
Okay.
Nick and I forgot to mention last week that we watched Unwelcome. Which is a so-so horror movie, I think, on Shudder about red hats, which are different than gnomes and different than other little people, like other
red caps,
brownie sprite type shit.
Red caps, yeah.
They're one of the lesser used mythological.
They're not borrowers. They're not the littles. They're not they're not David the Gnome. But in this movie, they are hit or miss. Some of the creature design is great, and then parts of the movie just don't work. I've seen it just raved about online. I found it kind of so-so. But we completely forgot we watched it, if that tells you anything.
It has Hodor in it.
Sure.
Oh, yes, it does have Hodor in it. He is a rapist.
Okay.
Well, he's a developmentally delayed like kid at certain point that's being beaten by his dad, and he doesn't even talk through most of it. I'm like, am I not going to even hear this actor say anything?
Man, Nick spent the whole first act going, if I see Hodor in a thing not
I want to hear what he actually
he
sounds
still doesn't
like.
say anything. Yeah.
And then so he talks, and I'm like, oh, great. And then immediately, like, he's one speech, and then he tries to sexually assault a woman. Like, God damn it, Hodor.
God damn it. Yeah. He gets this. So Fanny's continued interest in horror movies has resulted in her like branching out into areas of horror. Okay, you watched Hereditary, but do you want to watch Evil Dead Rise? So when she brought it up, I fucking loved that movie and was like, yeah, we definitely watch Evil Dead Rise. I don't know why you want to,
with
but
a good time.
Right. The cat knows what's up. So we watched Evil Dead Rise, and her enjoyment of it like started great. She loved the first act, liked the second act, really didn't like it when it gets down to the garage with the mutated altogether monster and the chainsaws and the blood rain and
bloody
shit.
And scary, yeah.
Well, the movie is particularly mean.
Yeah, they get all the way outside, and then the monster grabs the little girl by the ankles and pulls her back under the gate, like right before the last battle and everything. And I think that was the moment where Fanny was like, too much, like that's too much danger for this kid and blood and everything. Also, she's obviously not watched any of the other Evil Dead movies, and I was like, there's no reason to put you through all those to get ready for this. You don't need to know any of it.
Nope.
But there were things like, why is there suddenly a chainsaw? Like, oh, there has to be a chainsaw. And like, obviously they're going to wood chipper that because one of the like the previous reboot, remake, whatever, had blood rain in it. So they were going to do that. Like there were little things of like, yeah, so this is franchise stuff. You don't need to know it, but if you're wondering why it has that look, that kind of thing.
Wait, so why is there a random chainsaw in this? Like, I get that there's a fucking wood chipper in here for some reason. They're doing construction, but why is there a chainsaw in the parking garage? Because it's an Evil Dead movie, okay? Stop fucking thinking about it.
I don't know what you want from it.
But
yeah.
It's an Evil Dead movie. You can assume there's a chainsaw within reach in every scene somewhere.
So after watching Evil Dead Rise as a palate cleanser, at her request, we ended up watching a bunch of Sex and the City episodes. And so yeah, I've now re-seen a bunch of season 2 or 3. I don't know. Aiden's in there. I know too much Sex in the City.
Man, she watches that like we watch Brooklyn.
Yeah, no, she can always go back through it. She does spare me. She can also rewatch Girls the same way, but doesn't put me through that one.
Oh man, yeah. I can't
Sex in the City is the compromise of like, okay, like one of these is inoffensively bad, and one of these is like fuck girls. I don't. That phrasing I realize.
I watched an episode of Girls and I hated it. But
I don't like anyone on that show.
Sex in the City, I literally watched the entire series. So
yeah, I've seen all of it at various points. I'm sure.
I haven't watched the new.
I have seen the new movie.
Oh,
I've seen season 1 of the new, not the new movie.
Just like that.
Fanny watched the first episode or so of the new season of it, and like, I got basically like a live tweet of like how bad this is, and she was like, I kind of want you to watch it just because so you can see how bad it is, but it is so bad that I'm not even going to drag myself or you through it. It was like, holy shit, like worse than the second movie bad. So that's a lot. So of course she's also watching a great series, Better Call Saul. So watching more of that, which has been great. Watching Mike go on his first job with the fucking energy vampire from What We Do in the Shadows. It's the guy selling pills that gets the Hummer the flames and shit.
I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah, I didn't say you were a bad guy. I said you were a criminal. Yeah, oh man, I love that show so much. It's great. Also watching Chuck just be a complete fucking dick. Watched, of course, After Party, Secret Invasion, Joyride, some Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We just watched the most recent episode of Hijack, which continues to be good. I really do think it's a really cool story. I finally realized the lead hijacker is Arby from Utopia, the British Utopia. That's why I know it's crazy ass. It's a really good show. It is made into a holy fuck, there's a new Hijack out. I'm watching that because of Idris Elba. He is one of those rare actors that I just elevates material. He absolutely is killing it here.
Agreed. And I am shocked how much I like Hijack. And it is one of things. Yeah, I saw it dropped. I watched it immediately because it shouldn't work this way. I mean, it's solid. It's good suspense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elba is elevating the material.
There have been other perfectly solid shows about playing.
Why are you watching this and not like There's a bunch of other ones where they like got the same premises. Like I never finished
Yeah.
off Slow Horses or stuff that I actually like.
Right. Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's Elba. He's the fucking missing piece here. That's really like, God, I love
I tell
watching
you-
that
Yeah.
dude.
That's part of it, but also the fact that it's only 7 hours and it's real time. Like we're almost done.
Yeah,
Like,
that's really fun too. I'm really digging it.
Although if they fucking like take off from another airport or something and cliffhanger us on season 2, I gotta
Yeah,
say,
you're right.
I'm
They're
That will-
it's a midair refuel is the cliffhanger.
not to get too much into fucking the horrors of Dolores Roach, but I'm a little sick of this summer being the summer where nothing finishes.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, if there's no way to physically throw a streaming show across the room, but I will do whatever the equivalent of that is
Right.
if there is a season 2 of Hijack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't know, like a router, I guess.
Yeah.
my Roku
No, I don't want to
box?
throw my Apple TV. It's not the Apple TV's fault.
Maybe I print out like a DVD slip of Hijack, and then like
Right.
seems like a
So
lot of
print-
work.
I'll print out a picture of Idris Elba and make it into an airplane, which will be kind of ironic, and I'll fling it across the room.
Yes, wad it up and throw it. Yeah, make a paper airplane, but then wad it up and just throw it.
Yes, exactly.
Of course, I just watched a couple episodes of Elementary, as is my way.
Yes.
Went back because Hulu, I don't know, their algorithm's weird, showed it to me. The Kill Point, which I cannot remember if we watched any of when it.
I've never seen it.
So I want to say it's 2007 or so. John Leguizamo, a very young Frank Grillo. It's also got Michael K. Williams, Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other actors that you'll recognize that I couldn't immediately name. And so Leguizamo and his squad rob a bank in the opening minutes of the first episode, and the bank robbery goes fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually fine. When they get the word that there's a police call in, they like immediately drop everything you're doing, walk out. We're done. Like they got what they wanted and they walk out. One of the people in the bank happens to be an FBI agent not on duty, and she grabs her gun and runs out after them and starts firing. And that puts them into a standoff, which then police arrive. It drives them back into the bank, and now it's a hostage situation, all because like they were out and leaving. And like in coming off a Hijack where it's like, hey, you know what would have not had people firing back into the bank or like no shots fired at all? You not running out after them.
Yeah.
But that all kind of opens the first episode, and then Michael K. Williams is, I think, on the SWAT team that shows up. Donnie Wahlberg is the lead negotiator. There's another actor you'd recognize. It's like the young schmuck and everything. Not Craig Schaefer, but he looks like him. Who shows like they all show up and start doing their thing, and so you kind of get this moments from each group's perspective as they're like trying to negotiate their way out of like what's just a steadily worse situation. Yeah, the first episode was really good. Like you can see the moments where it's a little ahead of what television was. I don't know if this thing aired on ABC or what, but you can see the fade to black commercial moments,
Mm-hmm.
and they undercut the like. There's without them, there'd be no let up in this show. Like it's literally a like old TV format. When somebody's making a show, like somebody's making a show that's ahead of its time, like actually ahead, like a year ahead of where it ought to be. It feels like. I can't believe I don't know if I'm. Somebody's probably gonna find a recording or something of me. No, 2007. There's no recordings of me. Try it, bitches.
Don't dare the internet, Les.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I'm sure there's a recording something.
I was in high school, so I definitely wasn't doing any of this.
Oh, you were doing far dumber shit than this. I'll just bank on that. But yeah, the Kill Point. It's on Hulu. You'll probably have to search for it. I don't know why the algorithm showed it to me. And then today when we got home from seeing Joyride, Nick threw on Werewolves Within, which I had not ever sat down and watched. And,
Oh wow, really?
We
it
gotta
is so
make a
fun.
list of like, because I just assume you see like stuff, because like no,
There's so much stuff, and like
you're the one that
I'm
shows me
very
80s
aware of a
movies
bunch
that
of
I
shit.
wasn't alive for.
Yeah, man, I did a party for that. I had a bunch of people over. We watched it. It's a great experience. Such a fun movie.
It is
those are
nearly Clue
great fun
level. I
movies.
love it.
Yeah,
Like, it's not quite Clue. I will always that movie is just.
yeah.
But-
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
Uh,
yeah.
But in terms of getting close to that feeling, almost nothing does. And
I mean,
like
Sam
every
Richardson
heist or every con movie wants to be the Sting. Like Werewolves Within actually gets close to being
yeah,
that
and
for
it's
me.
I mean, the cast is great. It's got Sam Richardson, Milano Weintraub, Harvey Gillen, like
Hmm.
it's Michaela Watkins, like
Cheyenne Jackson, I think is the guy's
yeah,
name. That's
yeah,
Danny from 30 Rock.
yeah.
And he's great. Yeah, everybody in it is just
It's a who's
fantastic.
who of who is that again? Like
Right.
of just actors
Yeah.
that are great character actors, but you don't probably know their name.
And they
Yep.
apparently they spent as they did not have the budget to get the actual postal like US mail logo.
Mm.
So that's why she's like National Mail Service or some bullshit.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah.
What is your like? What's the fucking budget like for the National Post Service?
Right. That's what I that
Well, they don't
came
make-
up in an interview makes me feel like it's a sore point with Josh Rubin, the
It
director.
makes me want to go back through Henshin and make sure we don't have a parcel or a stamp of like, dude, are we gonna get sued into oblivion? Like,
a lot of people don't know that that's the postal service. They're not profitable off shipping mail. It's just being licensed in movie and TV.
Yeah, they're actually run by the Happy Birthday ladies.
That's 90% of their budget.
look, Cliff
Yeah.
Clavin does not work for the actual post office. His
right.
Icon Services, like,
Oh shit! Nick mentioned Cliff Clavin. Now we owe the post office $50 for this episode.
shit.
And yeah, that's all I watched.
I watched another episode of Cutthroat Kitchen, which again is my becoming sort of a comfort show as I go through that for the first time. Burned through some Parks and Rec. I finished my Good Place rewatch about a month ago, and so I restarted my Parks and Rec rewatch. Finished up season 2, rolled right into season 3. I forget the gear change on that show is so noticeable.
Oh,
like
man.
season 2 is good, but the second that Rob Lowe and Ben Wyatt
And Ben show up. Yeah.
show up, it's like the show kicks into another gear and just keeps getting better.
Brandanowitz,
And
whatever
when
the fuck.
when Brandon Danowitz leaves,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
can't
like
stand his character.
yeah.
I no offense to that actor, he's a
Yeah.
nice guy and all, but like, fuck,
But
I
so
hate that character. He's
I
such a
forget
drag
that,
on the
like,
show.
It also you can definitely feel the "Are we going to get canceled?" energy because season 3 starts with them like the government has been shut down and they decide they're going to do the Harvest Festival, and there's a big like 7-episode arc that ends with this shot of the Harvest Festival that's like an overhead helicopter shot, and I was like, you guys thought this might be it, didn't you? Like you thought that might be the final episode of the series because it has that feel, and it's a very successful one. And then they would do that like 4 more times.
Yeah.
Remember when shows were afraid that they were like we should give them some closure because we might not get another like
Instead of just making cliffhangers that they don't give a shit if it happens or not.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
like trying to hold the fucking streaming service hostage with plot or
Yep.
like
Yep.
like come on guy, like it's just season 3 on Netflix, you know you're not getting another one.
Yeah, you can't hold someone. You can't use hostage tactic against someone who will gleefully shoot your hostage and not care what happened.
They will
Like
they have done it before. They will
Netflix,
shoot the hostage.
Netflix will shoot your hostage just to see the expression change. Okay, they don't care about your show. But yeah, so that's been fun. I decided to go ahead and binge the rest of Mayor of Kingstown. So watched all of season 2 of that, and it's a really good show. But what I realized in watching it is, oh, this is like prestige TV from 1995.
Man, it
It
feels
is-
yeah.
It is it's very good, and Jeremy Renner really elevates
Well,
it.
I
He's
would say
great,
that that's
but
the writer of he's the same guy from Tulsa King, right?
Taylor
it's-
Sheridan. Yeah,
Taylor
Yeah.
Sheridan. I would say that prestige television of 1995 is that dude's fucking brand.
Right.
it is, and it's good. But as I thought about it later, I'm like, wait, there's like one major black character, and he's portrayed as kind of the super predator that they all thought black people were in the 80s, and there's like one major woman character who's not a wife or a girlfriend, and she's sort of a girlfriend, and also she's literally a whore and a prize to be won. I was like, did Frank Miller write this fucking thing? Like
yeah.
it is.
You're right. Tulsa King way better with the girl, like
Yeah.
the FBI girlfriend that's a drunk alcoholic.
Also an alcoholic.
And then there's
yeah.
the one black character that is his
the
driver.
I'd say the women I hate to say it, the women in
1883.
like that series actually do better, I think.
Yikes.
Yeah. But I was
Yikes.
realizing I was catching the pattern of Sheridan stuff. I'm like, oh man, I know why the right wing people love him so much. And he may not be right wing, but I think he is definitely a bit regressive.
It feels like a Stallone action movie from the 80s. Yeah.
It's
That's
all
his vibe.
It could not even
It's
be
all really well
intentional.
done.
I think it maybe in his strive of trying to make the things he likes from his childhood is you know?
Yeah, it's gonna make
Yeah.
that.
It's
Right?
that said, it was very compelling. I watched the whole thing. It reminds me of what I liked about The Wire and Sopranos and that kind of stuff. It's just that we're watching all these corrupt cops, and ultimately, if the difference is you sort of feel like they're rooting for the cops, and
Yeah.
that makes it that point of view definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I realized watching this last season of Mayor of Kingstown that what I really want to watch is a show
Bunny,
about Bunny.
yeah,
What sucks is
and
that
Bunny,
the first season, what I liked about it is they treated the cops like they were just another gang.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, but
And I
they're
mean, the cops
they
aren't any
d-
better in season 2, and it actually
yeah,
they become one of the least manageable gangs
But it
because
sounds
I
like they
think it's
spend
the
more time on those characters rather than Bunny or
they
anyone else.
they do.
but there's a
Bunny
lot
has
of
an
time of Renner just yelling at the cops of like, will you
yeah,
fucking not do anything, please?
yeah, yeah. Um, watched the last 3 episodes of Silo. Don't want to say too much about the ending, but I will say I was a little disappointed in the big reveal. I was like, I wanted something else. I
That
didn't quite
sounds
want that
about
reveal.
when Les was telling me about the fucking twist, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds like something that is either gonna, like, really work for, like, oh, alright," or,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, and it's something that I mean, I didn't like guess it and think, oh, that's definitely what's gonna happen. I try
yeah,
not to do that. I don't really care.
right.
But I did out loud, like, I don't know, episode 6 or so, look over at Lisa and like, so I wonder how many silos there are.
Yeah.
And she, to her credit, held firm and did not pull a face.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just I some of the reveal of what's going on, like, I was like, "Does this make sense with everything we've seen before?" And I'm not 100% sure that it does.
Yeah, I can see, like, it's not the same
But
thing, but, like, Game of Thrones, like, when
yeah,
people say that a ending can't ruin a show, but, like, I really, like, I really try to go back and rewatch Game of Thrones, and it does suck of,
yeah,
like, "Hey, wait, I know where the storyline goes, and
and
this
I don't wanna
doesn't
see it.
really
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
what these characters are doing doesn't really make sense given what we know late." Like,
for sure.
when it doesn't
I've
track back, it can fuck up.
for me, Silo did play fair in terms of like, so they
Okay.
had a revolution of whatever,
Right.
people trying to get the fuck out of the silo or asking if it's real or not. Um, and they keep mentioning like a door in a tunnel. There was a tunnel on the plans. So I'm pretty sure that all the other silos, because 10,000 people is not quite enough to keep all this really going. I think all the
Yeah,
other silos are connected to each other. So they're
yeah,
like cities with a tunnel that trades. Except
yeah,
Okay.
that except that your silo had a fucking revolution that
yeah, and
almost
they cut
opened
you
and
off.
killed everybody in it. So we
Yeah,
can't risk you nut jobs. Uh,
yeah,
and so
yeah,
I think, and I like, no one in the silo currently, maybe Tim Robbins' character, but I don't think
yeah,
anybody knows exactly what happened, but they've been cut off. And they also have they mention at one point that there's something in the water that causes their long-term memory to not be great because it's
yeah,
about the only way to keep this population manageable and keep them from trying to go outside. But that also means that if you have a revolution long enough ago that closes the tunnel between silos and you don't mention it for 2 generations, it's
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
Hmm.
And so like I think that's the problem they're running into. They needed to get to that point further and faster.
yeah.
But I know
Agreed.
that it's 3 books, and I
Yeah,
really, being Apple TV, I feel like they're actually going to keep going. And I do
yeah,
want to see where they go with like, if she walks over to another silo and knocks, are they going to be like, holy shit, a human?
yeah.
And
I
be cool about it. And like, she comes from the crazy place.
Yeah,
I think so.
I will absolutely watch another season. It was entertaining enough to watch the second season. But it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. It also wasn't as bad as I was feared it might be. So,
No, it's somewhere between like the show I really want and, the slowness of what Foundation or what I didn't like about The Expanse or something. Like,
it's weird. It's
I
like
expected super slow, boring sci-fi and really wanted super exciting sci-fi, and I got mid-range.
because it was good enough, it almost makes me want to watch Foundation season 2 and give that another shot, but I know I don't want to.
Yeah.
I know I'll regret that decision, so I'm probably not gonna. Unless we get deep into a strike and I have nothing to watch, in
Right?
which
I
case
mean,
there's all kinds of stuff. I'll watch 4 seasons of C with Jason Momoa. Sure, why not?
well, Kill Point on Hulu.
Yeah, we're gonna that TV Dudes, if it keeps going the way it's going, TV Dudes
We'll go
tail end
backwards.
2023 is gonna be us like, here's a bunch of stuff
Right?
you
It's like,
didn't
I
know was
found
on
this
your streaming
show about
services.
dogs that you guys have to watch.
Time for a Terriers rewatch through again. I watched the latest episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which I actually was a little disappointed by. I thought that it's a weird amnesia planet thing, and I've seen some people seem to really like it. Alan Sepinwall really enjoyed the episode, but he also didn't like Ted Lasso season 3, so I'm starting to drift apart from
Well, everyone liked
what
the
Sepinwall liked.
last episode, and it was dog shit. So
No, the last one was the planet, the whale Earth, right?
Last one was the time travel back to Vancouver, and I liked that episode quite a bit. Not everybody liked that one either, by the way. I definitely saw people who were not happy with it. And then there was the second episode, which most sane people liked, and then the two people I podcast with went on some kind of crazy unhinged rant for about an hour that I tuned out.
Everyone was on board for the eugenics episode. Got it.
Yes.
we're not reprising that unhinged rant. You had your turn. And then I watched Always Sunny. I'm continuing watching Always Sunny, season 16. It continues to be amazing. Episode 6 was Risky Rats Pizza and Amusement Center.
Wow, I can already see it. Like
they have discovered that it's been updated with safety and overcautiousness, and they decide to make their own Risky Rats out of the back room. And yeah, it's a delight. It is so much fun.
So you're telling me Always Sunny has made a knockoff of Chuck E. Cheese, but they are going to knock off their own knockoff of Chuck E. Cheese. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's great. It's another this whole season's been really funny. This was one of the high points. Then I watched The Homework, and I went to the theater and saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Which Mission Impossible, you kind of at this point know what you're getting with it. Like, you're in or you're out. This was another solid entry in the franchise. I will say my biggest disappointment with it is that they gave away a lot of shit in the trailer. There's no need to. That big motorcycle jump, that's in the last 20 minutes of the movie. And it's a big reveal.
Like the final big stunt?
It's the final big stunt. And I'm like, why the fuck did you guys show me that? If I had seen that,
I know it's really the big stunt, and they love doing the YouTube thing on it. And they talked about like shooting it so that if he died on it, they wouldn't. They shot it first. But I really took that to mean that it was going to open it like Bond.
Yeah. No, maybe save your big stunt for the movie, and like the week after, drop all your crazy YouTube content. Let people who want to see the fucking movie see the movie.
Because dude, that YouTube thing came out like 6 months ago or something like that.
They gave away. I mean, it's a story point that he does that jump.
It's a pretty good
and
stunt.
It's a surprise, and it's a good stunt. There's a lot of good stunts. I mean, it's a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
There's a great car chase, but so much of this movie was given away in the trailers. The only bits that weren't really was Haley Atwell's character, who we barely see, but she's a major character in this. She's great. I really like her. And Plum Clementif,
Mantis.
She is a great character in this as well. And she has a really good arc. And they don't give away the threat, which the threat is a really good one, and I like it. But like all the stunts were teased, the general vibe of it, like I would have liked a lot less in the trailer. In fact, I'm at the point I wish they would stop fucking making trailers for things they know people are going to see. Like, just say Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and that's it.
That's an interesting.
Don't show me anything
you're banking
else.
on what name recognition, because fucking no one went to go see Indiana Jones.
That's true, but I mean, like, can you imagine if they didn't have to recoup the marketing costs of all the fucking?
Now that's an interesting, and I don't know, because Hollywood is very cagey about how much of their budget is marketing.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of the accounting of it. We were talking about this today of like, man, so there's things like the place to experiment with this would have been with the Marvel movies. It would have driven me crazy, but there was no need to do a trailer for Endgame. Everyone was going to fucking see Endgame.
Yeah.
And you could have just said, you could have given the title and then some quick snapshots of the characters.
Well, how much
and that would have been it
of Oppenheimer and Barbie's budget is fucking marketing? I've seen those trailers
it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
If those movies don't do well, it is not because marketing. It's not because no one knows they're around.
Well, and that article recently about like blockbusters and like the whatever rise or fall of theater tentpole movies and shit talked about like how much of it now isn't about the actual popularity of the movies. It is like, if you have a great opening weekend, it's because you had a studio marketing department going full bore, because it's going to drop off the next week. Like that drop off means that it's not word of, like, used to movies would stay in the theater for a month, maybe 2 months. And they would build over word of mouth. Like, all your friends had seen it. Now you went and saw it. You had 3 weeks to figure that date out, you know?
Flash is like coming to Max in like, what, a minute, right?
Yeah.
In a couple of days, this Friday, I believe.
Oh, and that's how you know it got its fucking teeth kicked in.
Oh, it did.
Yes.
It is now the worst grossing superhero movie.
Woof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all time?
Oh
That's
my
what I
God, did
saw.
Morbius outdo it?
That's what I'm wondering. Did Morbius beat it? Did Spawn beat it?
If Morbius beat it, that's embarrassing. Spawn, at least you could, like, there's an inflation argument you can
There
make.
was nothing else going on when we saw Spawn, man.
Morbius, oh my God.
I mean, in fairness, they did release Morbius twice.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe that's their problem, Randy. Hey, give us the Flash in time.
That's how Avatar stays ahead.
What's Flash's version of Morbin time? Like,
it's Flash in time.
Flash. Oh, nope. I can
Don't
see.
tell it. Do not tell Ezra Miller that.
That's a whole other. That's a whole other marketing problem. That's a whole other. I can see why.
Coming soon to a rap sheet.
Well, near you. Well, yeah.
It is funny because in the pandemic they had a chance to fix everything. Like there were no movies coming out for a while. The marketing changed. They were doing the day and date, and
Dude,
they could have changed the way
Mm.
they did things, and they didn't.
There will be papers written on it later of like how we talk about how Lucas and Spielberg took over Hollywood after TV was first came in and reinvented.
Yep.
There's going to be papers about who did what during the pandemic and how that affected. Because seriously, I think Tubi is making a push.
Yeah.
And is becoming a thing that I watch a lot of shit on Tubi now.
Like a lot of shit.
Like I watch a lot of shit on Tubi. Like
it's recommended for you list. You may not want everyone in your life standing in the room for because it's going to recommend a bunch of shit. Like, have you seen that? Why would it recommend that to you?
It's going to be,
but it's going to be right.
It is going to be
correct. But it's going to be
like,
embarrassingly right.
It's funny. We're seeing UPS strike incoming. We're seeing the writer's strike. The actor strike starts at midnight as we record this. Like we're starting to see a lot of the knock-on dominoes from the pandemic of how we didn't fix a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And all the powers that be decided we just go back to being normal, and that's not how it's going to be.
AI will fix it. It's fine.
It's crazy.
Yeah, who adapts and who doesn't?
We'll use AI to fix it. It'll be okay.
Oh yeah, everything should be great.
I'm very curious as to where streaming services are in 5 years.
Same. I mean, we all thought we knew where the trend was going, and during the pandemic, they had a huge boost. Everybody was home watching streaming.
I thought HBO Max was doing the shit of like, oh shit, you mean you're
HBO Max turned into my favorite streaming service.
Right? It was like it was a hot ticket for a minute.
He killed it in less than a month, man. It was impressive. Yeah. Like he couldn't have killed it more if this was a producer type scam and he was trying to do it.
Like if you were actively trying, I think it would be more difficult. Like
yeah, you would accidentally make some good shows, but Zaslav, man, he fucking murdered that thing. Yeah, it is the Musk on Twitter level murder of a streaming service.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Well, that's our appetizers for the week. This is a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdodes and throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep other streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we've got another episode of Leo Leads as we talk about the seemingly 12-hour-long Gangs of New York.
Leonardo Leads. Yes. Otherwise, the fucking music stinger doesn't work.
Ken Burns, Gang of New York.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to assume you haven't actually listened to the Patreon episodes because otherwise you'd be real mad.
I never listen to the Patreon episodes. I can't. I don't pay for the Patreon. I can't.
So you have no idea why it's called Leonardo Leads.
I have no idea why it's called.
Fantastic. Never don't check up on it.
Now I want to know.
You're gonna be real mad.
All right. Let's talk about our main course. Let's talk about My Adventures with Superman. By the way, this week's main course was really the appetizers. I hope y'all were in for like an hour of appetizers.
I can cut it down a little bit.
Well, we always talk about, like the nice thing about this is that if someone doesn't want to skip the appetizer and go right to the meal,
right,
you can we've got time codes. You can just skip that whole thing.
Absolutely. For those of you who are doing such a thing, welcome to the TV Dudes.
Welcome to the TV Dudes. Yeah, My Adventures with Superman.
And I'm last.
What a great two-parter to start. What a great 2 episodes to start this with.
So this is what Max, I think, was hoping you'd think like My Hero Academia was. Of like, hey, it's a superhero show, but in an anime style, but written by Westerners. Like, it doesn't have any of the written baggage of like weird sexual humor or that sort of thing. And the animation gives it a interesting, like, bubbly, fun, like.
Is it some of the same team from She-Ra? That's the vibe it
I
feels
think
like.
I
I don't
think
know.
that may be right.
Lois
Yes.
Lane looks so much like Noose Nocera from Owl House. It's scary. She looks like so much like Luz.
I mean, I loved all of Smallville, so I love the new old take on Jimmy. Having Jimmy, well, we'll talk in a moment about their weird takes on all the characters. Just in terms of the look of the suit, the old school S, the underwear on the outside of the pants, the boots, all of
The
like
underwear
I
and the belt being the addition of his mom.
of his mom.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
I really loved it. So even when I saw a still image of this, I was like, holy shit, I think I might be down for that Superman show. That looks perfect. I
Mhm.
am stunned that I fucking Adult Swim. I did not know this was even in production. I knew nothing about it. I
Yeah.
have in the last couple of months watched at least 5
I
DC
knew-
animated movies on Max
I
and a
knew it was
bunch
coming,
of
but I'm in more of the anime like the anime
Yeah.
people were freaking out
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it.
but like
Yeah.
nothing, like all the JLU episodes, the Batman Brave and the Bold episodes that I've watched, like none of them, Max has not shown me anything about this coming. If somebody on my Facebook hadn't posted, holy shit, these 2 episodes dropped and they're gorgeous,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, and I still had to go and type in Superman into
Yeah.
search.
Yeah. It wasn't there. Don't show us things. I was like, you guys know you dropped a new show, right? Like, do you not want to put it maybe at the top of your list?
Right. Or at least, I mean, hey, algorithm, like I just literally hit play on everything related to this.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
how this isn't coming up in my shit.
Yeah.
I've never once watched Righteous Gemstones. Fucking quit.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So I woke up Saturday morning and immediately was like, Nick, you want to
It's like a text
Yes.
Saturday morning of like, oh my god.
That's a good Saturday morning show. Yeah.
Oh
This,
man.
as we all know, as we've heard over the course of hundreds of episodes, I am not a big fan of anime. But anime influence, this is like the Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yeah,
of
I was gonna
Superman.
say
Like,
it's not really anime Superman. It is closer to Avatar: The Last Airbender or Teen
Yeah.
Titans than anything.
Yeah. Nicktoons Superman.
I really like that Lois and Jimmy and Clark are contemporaries in a way they've never really been.
Them starting
Yeah.
on like, well, not starting like Lois is an intern, so she's been there a little bit longer, but basically
Yeah,
she
but
kidnaps them,
Yeah, yeah,
which is a very Lois thing to do.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, nope. Perry
Yeah,
definitely said we were supposed to be on this case. Come on, boys.
Yep.
Like Clark being just charmingly sweet. I loved explaining how he doesn't know about his shit yet when he's a
Yeah.
little bit older than we normally see that.
So
By
again,
having
even
it
the
be
changes are
just
interesting.
terrifying. Like I love
Yeah.
his parents, like them showing him the ship, which is bigger than it normally is,
But it's scary.
and
Like
it
a kid would be
terrifies
scared of
him.
it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't come back to it until, and honestly, this is what I really liked about it, of making a change. Usually hate the, like, what I hate about the Burton Batman making Joker part of Batman's fucking origin story.
Yeah.
They make work here with Lois Lane being part of Superman's origin of she's the one that inspires him to really
Yeah.
learn about what himself and what he can do. And he becomes Superman because she calls him Superman.
Yeah. You know that, I mean, she named him in the continuity
Yeah.
as well, or at least in the, like, she's the one who named him in the movies too.
Right.
But usually
But
it
not
doesn't
to this
feel
degree.
so connected with his like I gotta save some cats. I got
But
like
he-
he's a good kid.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
shows up
Who
like
becomes
this is
more.
before he shows up with the suit. Like
Yeah.
she's says like a inspiring speech about him when he's still wearing like the sweatshirt or whatever, like
Mhm.
the hoodie.
Right. Yeah.
And what's his name playing Boimler from Lower Decks
Yeah.
is
Jack
Yep.
Quaid's having a hell of
Jack
a couple of years
Quaid.
here.
Yeah.
What
Jack Quaid.
What a great Clark he's playing.
Yeah. He's great.
All right, I'm just gonna be a
Uh,
be a normal boy, like gonna be a normal human.
Just not gonna save anybody. It's gonna be good.
Okay, well I gotta
Uh,
save the cat. I mean I have to. That's a rule. I have to save the
When
cat.
Nick-
Why do
when-
our alarm clocks keep exploding?
I don't know about that, Jimmy.
I love Jimmy's like, yeah, I don't know. I also, at first, Nick was like, I don't know about Jimmy being a conspiracy theorist, but then we quickly realized every single thing Jimmy says is real.
Yeah.
keeps
He may
Everything.
be a conspiracy
Starro,
theorist, but he's right.
Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yep.
French mind control gorillas. I was like, oh, he's definitely talking
Yeah,
about
months.
Mala, but
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Like,
him
I
being
love
kinda
that of
right about
realizing that,
everything
like,
is kind of
ah.
fun. But I think the what really hits is Lois and Clark's relationship of them being really both almost instantly into each other. And her, like, even saying, like, "Ah, you're stupid, beautiful friend." Wait, did you say beautiful? Like, they
Yeah. Her being into Clark is such a different thing, and I really like it.
yeah, usually it's the Superman, and she kind of ignores Clark, which is,
Yeah.
you know, a
But
I like
this works
yeah,
for me even better because she's into him, but she's Lois Lane and she's career focused, and that really isn't part of her plan being
yep,
for this corn-fed doofus. And so like you watch, like we're gonna get to watch her like be his friend and be into him, but also be like, get away from me, idiot.
yeah,
Like like it works for me to have Lois do a bit of the pigtail pulling.
yeah,
well, also,
yeah,
he has
And
a legit reason to be mad at her later of, like, "Did you just lose me
yeah,
my job?"
yeah,
well, and their conversation was beautiful and immediately got to the core of what I do like about Superman and what makes Superman work for me. When she says, "Well, you wouldn't, I had to lie to you to get you to come help me," and he looks at her and says the thing you should say there. You didn't
yeah,
give me
He
the
didn't
option.
he didn't give me
yeah,
a chance.
You
yeah,
just decided that to use me. You
You
did
just
not
decided
ever.
that I was gonna disappoint
yep.
you. Like,
And I like that she apologized.
Yes,
yes.
yeah,
She realizes she was wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
It's beautiful. It was really
it gives
nice. It's
a
what.
it gives you a career-driven Lois Lane, but she doesn't come
yeah.
off as a bitch, like, sometimes
She's not. Yeah,
she comes off
yeah,
sometimes in other adaptations of this.
Well,
yes,
and it's one of those things that helps separate her later character wise from people like Lex. Lex is career
yeah,
driven,
yeah,
and
Mhm.
people. And there's plenty of people that work Mercy. There's plenty of people that work for Lex that are career
yep,
driven, and Lois could easily be that woman,
yep,
but she's not.
Also the name dropping, like, who stole the story from them, Cat Grant,
Oh yeah,
uh, Jimmy's rival, and like, it's
yeah. I can't
yeah,
remember his name, but Jimmy's rivals from the comics as well. And yeah, they dropped Cat Grant, and then they named somebody after Simonson and Jurgens, I believe, as well.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, a
Like
lot
they
yeah,
of
started name.
writing, like, drops of, like, I think the cafe they go to is named after a Superman writer or something. Like, there's a lot of
yeah.
little pokes and nods and stuff.
Also, really liked that they're using Livewire as one of his early villains, and I like
Yeah,
Yeah.
their new origin for her. I think that's really cool.
no, that was
Everything,
really
like,
good.
I love that, like, they're not just changing things to change. Like, I like that it's, like, Livewire is now a mercenary that has, like, a stake of trying to stay away out of what seems to be Argus's
Yeah,
hands.
yeah,
Yeah, and like don't know if she was working for Intergang or who that she was stealing weapons from.
Also, an interesting because she has the electrical powers, right? And she does it from, like, this device,
yeah,
and it seems like the way they're portraying Superman's powers in this one is different. Like, they're really treating him like a battery. Like, he's really absorbing energy from the sun, and he seems to be, like, his eyes glow, and he seems to be utilizing the energy to, like, fly, run fast. Like,
yeah,
it hard to tell. It's a subtle difference, but
yeah.
makes it different enough to, like, oh, okay, he's really running, like, more than just
It
it's
it
always on. It's something he
I
has to physically do.
it might be the first time they've ever bridged the death of Superman powers to his normal powers in
mhm,
a way that where I
Yeah,
went,
yeah.
huh?
yeah,
He's not wearing the,
yeah,
like, fucking blue electrical suit, but it's
right.
a little bit of it.
But also, there's a little. I mean, there's a lot of little tweaks like that. The suit, the Sailor Moon suit transformation is one of them,
Hmm.
of course, and that really works. I'm surprised how well that works.
Oh, I didn't honestly think of it as this until somebody pointed it out. I was like, oh, it just worked. I just liked
Yeah,
that.
It's
yeah,
just transformed, and I was like, I didn't really think
yeah,
about it either, other than, I do like the idea of, like, "Sir," like, what was the mini comic that you posted, Randy? What was like, "Sir, people are freaking out about the black, Jimmy
yes,
Olsen," and then
yes.
the guy just takes a sip of his coffee, give Superman a Sailor Moon transformation. "But
But
sir, do it!
sir,
Do it.
Make it gayer." I yeah, and the chibi art style of, like, their kinda, like, really works for Superman as far as being a bright, optimistic force of, like, Livewire is yelling at him the entire time, and Superman's legitimately like, "I'm just trying to help you." Like,
Right.
and
yep,
not being mad about it either of like, "Would you just calm down, lady? Like, I'm really, like, trying to
yeah.
help. Like, I
The other thing
barely know you."
one of the other tweaks I really like is the Jor-El. Jor-El looks like a big scarred general
Dude,
version of him.
they showed a little bit of the backstory and
Uh-huh.
what normally looks like the Phantom Zone, right? But the Phantom
Yeah,
Zone is in the shape of the House of L's symbol. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Not the
oh,
S, but that shield. Yeah.
the shield of it. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, is he like? Did they change the origin? Is Jor-El kind of a mixture of Zod? Like,
yeah, because it's and him speaking Kryptonian is kind of terrifying. You're like,
it's kind
oh,
of like it really
yeah.
brings across of how a young child would be pretty scared by it.
Yeah.
And that would be an interesting take of if they find out later that like if Jor-El sent him here as a bioweapon to take over.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are you doing? You're supposed to take over that Earth. You're supposed to be like the dictator of that.
And that would be kind of a nod back to the John Byrne stuff where Superman where Lara, and it was so antiseptic on Krypton that they were disgusted by what they saw on Earth. They're like, well, we got to send him somewhere and he'll be safe here.
Also,
I
like the anytime they go into the comics, I feel like it makes more sense that Krypton sucks.
yeah, it does.
I get that you try and be aspirational about Jor-El and them, like sacrificing their lives for their son or whatever, but really it only logically story-wise it only ever really makes sense if Kryptons are douchebags. Like,
yeah, I totally get it, and I'm okay with it.
I'm interested to see where they go with Slade. We've got
Yeah.
pre-Deathstroke.
Because I was wondering, I'm like,
voicing him.
He's like, I'm like, okay, he seems to be, and he's not wearing his traditional suit, and then his sticks come out, and I was like, well, that reminds me of
and his hair's always over
somebody.
one eye.
And his hair's over one eye. I was like, oh shit, that's Slade.
Yep.
I bet you, like, Superman will, like, if Superman lasers out one of his eyes, that's gonna be a dark origin for Slade. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, fuck. No, I don't think it'll be that, but voiced by Dr. Spachemin.
Who's voicing his mom? Did you guys know?
I don't.
Because she's really good. I feel like she's doing almost a Holly Hunter riff. Like, she's really likable. I like what they're giving his mom a lot of character. I thought so. I thought that was really good. I'm very interested in seeing where this goes. I thought the first 2 episodes were a ton of fun. This is going to go right on my must watch along with like Hijack and some of the other stuff right now. The designs for this are good. I've seen some people griping online because they don't like the new pixie cut Lois, which I think she's a great design, and I like her. I like her sort of. I've seen some gripes from people like Lois has like a weird ADHD. She's kind of obnoxious, and I'm like, man, she's a great character. This is a good version of her.
Yeah. No, she felt like the bossy. Like that really stunned me when I saw that because Nick and I, like partway through one of the episodes, I think the first episode, were like, that felt very Lois. Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Perry has not done a ton this. He's very much the straight man to them, but I really, really like what they're doing with him.
Yeah. I don't see, they don't have her listed in cast.
I couldn't find it either. So I don't think it's anybody notable. It's just a voice actress, but yeah, it's really good. All right, so let's talk about the Horror of Dolores Roach, which was the other show we watched this week on Prime. Did either of y'all listen to the podcast of this?
No. I knew nothing about this other than it. Well, once I saw the name of it and looked it up, and it was like, oh, it's a Sweeney Todd type.
It's a Sweeney Todd riff,
and I was like, okay, got it.
I was glad it was 30 minutes. It was 30-minute episodes. It was like 8 episodes. I burned through it in one day. It was really quick watch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Same. We tore straight through it. We got to episode 3 and we're like, at 30 minutes of pop, we're gonna finish this.
Yeah. I listened to the podcast and I really liked it. It was creepy and kind of there was a creepy riff on Sweeney Todd, and it had some unusual touches, and I really liked it. And I feel like they sanded off some of those interesting things for the TV show, unfortunately. One of which is they really went into like the crazy weird sex shit that they did. Here it was like it was there, but they didn't really like deal with it as much. And then obviously they didn't want to show any of that, but like it was sort of an afterthought. And the other really, really notable thing is that the girl who works at the empanada shop is trans in the podcast.
Oh.
And
Nelly?
Nelly.
Or woman?
Nelly is a trans woman.
A trans woman. Okay.
And Dolores, who's been in prison for 15 years, her first reaction is to basically use the wrong phrase with her, and they get off on the wrong foot, and then they become close friends. And it was a neat little thing. And also, her being a trans woman and having a relationship with this weird nerdy guy. Like, it was a really cool bit of trans representation, and I'm a bit bummed they took it out. I don't know why they did it.
No, and it's weird you say that because when she first shows up at the empanada place, they hate each other, and to the point that Dolores has to say, "Hey, we got off on the wrong foot. Let's start over.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm going to be here, so we need to not hate each other." And like,
there's no reason for it.
It doesn't really. There's really no reason. I mean, it's not that it's unbelievable, but it feels fucking arbitrary.
Reason of tension if she had like.
Immediately stepped in it. I know exactly the phrase.
Yeah, and it's too bad because, like I say, it's the character works really well in the show and or in the podcast, and I don't know why. Maybe they couldn't find a trans actress that worked for it. Maybe it feels like an executive said, "Does this person have to be trans?" Like that's what I think happened. But anyway,
well, I think it also might be we're not to the point of if you make a character trans and suddenly like. The story around them has to be about that.
Yeah.
I would just have her be in it, and then
they should have stepped up and put us at that point by doing it.
It's a shame. It's a shame they didn't because it worked really well on the pod. And I will say, if you like the show, podcast is better. Much like most of Prime's adaptation of podcasts, like Homecoming was solid, but the podcast was better.
Okay.
The podcast this was great. And as a show, I thought that the one thing they didn't have in the podcast that they kind of, I think they could have done more with because of the adaptation is that the whole framing sequence of her telling the story to this actress who's playing her in a play based on the true crime podcast. That's a neat twist, and it is a way to change like why do something that's already done in a different medium. Like that was a neat little twist.
Yeah,
it's just a little spice that's barely in there. I would have gone more into that. I would have done more with that than just making a framing device.
I guess you're right. They don't really cut back to her telling that story a lot.
No, stretch it. Like I think there's whole episodes where I would just forget that we're doing
I forget it's happening. Yeah, it's just her narrating. I totally forget it's happening sometimes. That said, I think it works. And the story really works. Like Dolores she's doing horrible things, but you totally get where she's coming from.
At the start. Then it gets compulsive.
Well,
then it becomes compulsive. Yeah.
You realize that oh no, you're crazy, and not in the Oh, that chick, she's crazy. Like no, if
you're massaging me and the wrong thought crosses your mind, I might get killed before you realize you did it.
There's a point where like it starts to become like you're too good at snapping necks now. You've had too much practice.
Yep.
Oh man,
these all can't be accidents.
But for the first couple, when is it Luis is helping her, like. Oh man, when she screams, somebody should have stopped me. You should have fucking stopped me. There really is she wouldn't have gotten away with the first one. This should have been over immediately.
She's not a particularly good serial killer.
It makes me afraid of like, there, but for the grace of God, like, okay, if you accidentally killed somebody, that would be one thing. And maybe if you'd never do it again. If somebody enabled you to accidentally kill 2 or 3 people, would you just go nuts from there? And kill 8 more people? Like, she's just mowing through her neighborhood.
I don't want to be a serial killer. Like, well, for someone who doesn't want to be a serial killer, like you are, well, one, I mean, after the third person, I think there's just technically. Also, you seem to have a preferred way of like you have a method, like you have a MO, like it's not good.
Yeah. But Mark Maron playing a sleazy landlord is still like the role he was born to play. He was great in this.
Oh, and honestly, I was so sad to see.
What did you say, Les? Victims. Is that he really ended up marinating in that part?
Yeah, they leave him to marinate.
Yeah.
It's like fuck you, Les.
But I wanted him on the show more because he's so great. I was really hoping there'd be some flashbacks or something. Because he's just great. But the whole, everybody on it is just crushing it. Justina Machado, is that?
Yeah. The lead,
who will always be Vanessa from 6 Feet Under for me. But yeah, she's just absolutely great. Her weird flips back and forth between laughing and then genuinely scared like a sane person would be, and then like coming off of the murders and like, this candle is so nice.
Yeah.
And like Nick and I kept having moments of like, oh, so you crazy. Okay. So you're real crazy. Got it.
The girl from Scrubs, whose name I can never remember, but she's from Scrubs.
Oh, Carla from Scrubs? Yeah.
Yeah, Jess Reyes.
Yes, Judy Reyes.
Judy Reyes.
Her playing the drug dealer who took over from her boyfriend.
Oh man.
She's like the ultimate mean girl, and you want her to get killed. It's so good.
Also, great stunt work in the show as far as a couple of the
Yeah.
hits get so like when she hits that
Yeah.
stool, I was like,
Oh my God.
God
Yeah.
damn, I
Yeah,
felt
that was
hit.
brutal. Yeah. Yeah.
It was really simple too. Of like you could see where they just cut, and then next shot she has a like mouthful of teeth. But the hit really,
Yeah.
like the way it was edited together, and the hit really sold it. I was impressed with it.
Yeah. I
The
enjoyed
way
the
this
shit out of this.
the way this accelerates, I really like, because it starts out and you're like, oh, this poor woman, her whole life fell apart and she's trying to get back to her normal life. And then she meets this one guy, and there's this brief of like, oh, this was a kid who liked her, and that she's working at this empanada shop, and it's all going to be okay. Wait, what? What's happening? Wait, what? And then it just keeps getting worse and worse. And he's crazy, and she's crazy,
Yeah,
and the people around them are terrible. And
And-
it got
The
to a point where I
episode
asked Les, I'm
7
like, hey, where are all the normal people in Brooklyn?
Right.
Have you been to Brooklyn?
Is there something in the water here?
Oh man, when the food delivery driver
The delivery driver seems insane.
when he starts talking
Yeah.
about like
I mean, he's
ghosts
right,
and like
but-
oh my God, he's insane though.
Yeah.
But when they have the episode 7 reveal of why Luis is
Mhm.
basically emotionally stunted at age 12 or
yeah,
so, and
Yeah.
like when she sees his room, she's like, "Fuck, he's a child."
it's
Oh my God.
truly sad.
Yep.
And that story is one of the darkest things I've ever watched an actor stand and tell. Like, you talk about a monologue. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, I had literally just texted Fanny, like, oh my God, we're watching Horrors of Dolores Roach. Fucking Cyndi Lauper just showed up as a private investigator. This show's
Oh yeah, Cyndi Lauper's so
bananas.
good.
She's
Yes.
fucking, this is fucking amazing. Oh, actually, this just got incredibly dark. Holy
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oh God. And then an episode later when she yells at him and calls him Waffle Dick,
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
too
that's
soon.
and it's funny
Too
because
soon, Dolores.
yeah, the thing was like someone calls her mean, and she's like, "Am I mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, man,
Yes.
You're mean. You're
and you
really
keep doing mean things."
And you keep murdering people. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
to the point where he can't keep up. He can't make enough empanadas to get rid of the goddamn fucking bodies.
Well, I think
yeah,
it's
we sure
hilarious. Like
didn't
she,
need whatever Hector or
yeah, no. Well, we definitely don't need Joy. She just did that to her. She just got mad at her.
Joy is
Right.
like where I'm like, okay, so now you're just not now it's just whenever you feel like it.
Now it's just
Yeah.
murder whenever. Yeah,
you just
whenever
killed
that
somebody
solves
who
every
just
problem.
was
Yeah.
too pushy about wanting a
Yeah.
massage right now.
Yeah. The funny thing is, she is so horrified by the empanada thing. She gets rid of the rest of the meat, or she thinks she does,
Mhm.
and then like an hour later, she has undone her whole fix. Like,
Right.
She's like, I got rid of all the meat. We're done. We're not doing this. Oh, and by the way, I just killed somebody. Well, shit.
No, she just killed 2 people. Like
Yeah.
fucking
Yes. Yeah.
as Hector and fucking
She uses a body to kill somebody, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then that body revives one on top of it, like fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very fun. It's very dark.
Is that coconut? I told you I'm allergic to nuts. Coconuts are not nuts. What are you
Nuts
talking
are
about?
nuts. Yeah.
I got to agree with her. That was you were confusing.
That's on
that
him,
one.
man.
Yeah, that's him. That's on him.
Like you went out of your way to make like a homophobic joke, and I think that's what I think that's what killed you. Like I'm allergic to nuts. That's how you know I ain't gay. It works with fruits. I'm not allergic to I'm not allergic to fruits. It works the same way. Why did he?
Anyone who likes this, and I found this very watchable. It was a good distraction. I don't know if it's going to wind up in my top 20 of the year or anything, but it was solid. It was fun. But anyone who likes this should definitely listen to the podcast, which is also a pretty quick listen, and I think does some of the things the show does a little bit better. Now, do we think they're setting up for a season 2 with that, or is that just
They're begging for one.
But why? I mean, that was
I don't
clearly
know.
Dominic, right? That was Dominic.
But they
And
don't
that's the
show
end.
him
Or
that's gotta
it's
be the
her.
end.
It's her Australian friend.
Oh God.
because they said they weren't going to Dominic's. They were going to someone who knew where Dominic was.
and they
Yeah.
showed they mentioned that there was some chick with an Australian accent that was
Yeah.
sending him packages, and there's only one fucking chick with an Australian accent on the whole entire
Yeah.
goddamn show.
I don't know if they were trying to get me invested in, and again, on this podcast does not have a season 2, so
Honestly,
No, there should not
fully
be a season
created.
2 of this. They
But,
should have
like,
shown Dominic.
The last 5 minutes of this gave me a bad taste in my mouth of
interesting.
fuck you.
I just assumed that was Dominic and that was the end. Like,
No, we
if they're
rewound
try-
it
if-
back to make sure that
No,
why didn't they just show
he
his face
specifically
and then
says,
have
I
her
don't know where
charge the
Dominic
camera?
is. I know where someone who knows where he is. and
Like
she
you
laughs.
could
man.
leave it coy. You could leave it coy with whether she kills him on the fucking porch or
Yeah.
not.
I just
But
if
I
they were
really
trying to
wanted them to resolve it.
if they were trying to set me up for a whoa, what happened to Dominic for season 2? They failed because I don't give a shit what happened to
Mm-mm.
Dominic.
Yeah, he
I was
left.
mad at
He,
her
like,
every time she still cared.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially like in the whole at least in the second half, she's out to fuck him up. In the
Yeah,
first half, when she's still, I mean, everybody from the prisoners forward, everybody that's looking at her like, girl, stop
She
it.
set you up.
He fucked you over even before she
ruined your
knows that
life.
he ratted
Yeah.
you. Just like,
Yeah.
you get that he definitely didn't wait for you, right? You insane person.
even her cellmate is like, he set me up. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't know?
Uh-huh.
Everyone knew that.
Everyone put that together.
Like
Come on
anyone
now.
she told that story to could put it together, and like just not her. Also, her fucking I thought it was gonna come back to a flashback to her cellmate with the masseuse with no hands. We don't get any backstory on why she doesn't have any fucking hands.
Yeah. Nope. I think
do
that
love-
might be in the podcast.
So you were trained, I think Judah Reyes gets to say, like, you were trained to massage in prison by a masseuse with no hands.
Mhm.
Bullshit. Or like she wasn't really missing her hands, was she? Yes, she was.
Yeah.
She was
Yep.
absolutely missing her hands.
Pretty good start to a story, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, season 2 of How She Lost Her Hands. Maybe I'm in. All right. Let's jump over and have our dessert. Let's talk about Secret Invasion, which I'm curious. I don't know how much you guys have on like your Facebook friends, your Threads friends, or whatever, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever.
Not a lot.
I have friends who really dislike this show.
I can
know
see
I've
that
seen a lot of
because-
like it's boring.
Well, also, like you said, Randy, if you want the badass Nick Fury of the comics, this is not it.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
switched him up, and it was the same when I read when I watched Punisher in the Daredevil show. I was like, "Oh, they really switched up Punisher," and I realized, oh,
Yeah.
because Punisher as a sociopath in the comics, where you can read his
Yep.
thoughts, works. But if you
Yep.
want to tell a story around him in a show where you have to show stuff, it's like, oh shit, he needs a personality and like a reason to like and be him, and that's what they've given Fury. They've given Fury a personality and a fun one. He's Sassy Fury.
Yeah.
Which is what I
It-
think
it-
they made Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi. Why people did not like that is like,
Yeah.
he's not.
Yeah.
No, he's not the Luke we remember. I'm like, yeah, but I kind of like this old
He
sassy.
kind of hasn't he been through some shit? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, this guy is he is reminiscent of the Fury we met in Captain Marvel. It's like a
Mhm.
little bit more like real Fury.
Yes, I like the
That's who
idea
we're
that
getting.
this is we only know the performance of Fury. This is actually really him without him putting the performance on.
I will say I have a couple notes. I have a couple disappointments about where they are at this point. First of all, we're 4 episodes in, and I feel like we're nowhere near the like this show's maybe moving a little too slow.
it's only 6 episodes, right?
It's only 6 episodes.
So we're
way
resolving the entire Secret
Yeah.
Invasion Scroll War somehow.
in 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Well, I think they're going to try and get away with that. That Gravik has revolutionized. Like 100 Skrulls are out in the operations, and he just recently got control over the rest of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really stopping these guys, and then the other Skrulls are kind of like go along to
Sure,
get along.
I get that, but it's still like it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Also, my other gripe, my biggest gripe in this was that I feel like we're not getting I wanted more. This is Fury's story, and I'm good with that. It is Fury's story, but the trailers promised me a Winter Soldier-esque. Here's all the spies in the MCU trying to deal with the Skrulls. I wanted something a little bit bigger. I wanted Martin Freeman not to be a Skrull. I wanted Kobe Smulders not to get shot in the first episode.
In order to set up a mislead and actually a surprising plot twist in episode 1, they set expectations to a different show.
I want War Machine to be fucking War Machine and not a Skrull.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like that reveal this episode. It makes sense, but I don't like it. I'm like, I want this to be Rhodey, not a Skrull playing Rhodey. Like, we have not got enough Rhodey. He has not had his star.
They don't have enough show here to bed down the things they're raising, like the big question of when did Rhodey become Rhodey? I mean, when did Rhodey become Skrull? And
and also, like, if Rhodey is a Skrull, why the fuck didn't they just replace the president? Like,
Yeah.
why not? Why you could easily have replaced the president at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
He takes his boss out to a dinner and then you replace him. Like, it doesn't seem like
I think that's a plot reason of like, well, Rhodey's a character the audience knows more, so it'd be more
Yeah.
impactful. So like
yeah.
that seems more like a story thing rather than
I was disappointed in the reveal because also it feels like, well, we're not going to get real Rhodey then. Like maybe we'll get a little bit of it in the final episode.
hmm
But I was like, I don't like that. I don't like how kill happy they are about getting rid of characters who have never had screen time. Like Maria Hill was a character. There was plenty of life left in that character to
Oh
off
yeah, they've
her
never
for
used her
shock
right.
value.
Yeah.
I liked it in the first episode because it was such a shock. But looking back, I'm like, no, that was a waste. And
Yeah.
I feel the same about Talos.
Yeah.
They were trying to give us this is a big moment of Gravik, and they're trying to make Gravik. I think the other big issue I'm running into, and I like the show by the way, but this is the episode where a lot of my gripes kind of turned. It's like, I think Gravik's a boring bad guy. I need
Yeah.
more. I need to have
He
more.
doesn't feel like a
personality.
leader to me. Like he doesn't feel
Yeah.
like the leader of that revolution to me.
I thought there was going to be more flashbacks to show what his relationship with Fury was like because it feels
Yeah,
his relationship with Fury feels really personal, but not in a way that they've ever demonstrated or shown in
Yeah.
any way of like
No.
yeah.
It
Now,
just makes
now
him
that
sound like an angry punk kid.
yeah. Now that I've given all my gripes, I will say the stuff I liked this episode. I thought Gaia having super scroll powers and the flashback to that was very
Called it.
clever.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I thought they might have killed her just because they've been kill happy, but they didn't.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, like, I wouldn't have cared if they killed Gaia if we instead of Maria Hill. I thought the action sequence where they tried to take the president was really cool. I thought
Yeah.
it was a really good action sequence, and I loved everything about Fury and his Skrull wife.
Yes.
I loved everything about that relationship.
Them
up to
both shooting to
including
miss. His
gun thing at
pause
the
when
end.
she
Yep.
asks, "Would you have loved me if I'd always looked like a scroll?" And you know it's that implied, like, well, you never gave me the chance to, so how
Yep.
will we know? But that
Yeah.
pause, I was like, oh
That pause
fuck,
was
man,
cold
you
as
already.
shit. Well,
Yeah.
also when this show gets it right, it feels very spy-y in a way that
Yeah.
like them having that conversation of knowing that like I know you even here knowing that you're here to shoot me with that fucking gun, I'm still thinking that this was worth it.
And the funny thing is, like, they didn't show it, but you know that she knew he knew.
Yeah.
Like she knows Nick. She knows that he's gonna know this is coming up. So they both had guns. They both knew it was coming.
Yeah, and then of course they can't both decide to not shoot. Like they both got to be drama queens about it and shoot to miss.
Yes. Yep. It was a great
Yeah.
moment. It was a great. That's one of the best moments of this episode.
Which I'm pretty sure we're not going to see this character again for a minute. So
Which is too bad. I like the character.
yeah, but also glad that like I was worried that they were gonna like Battlestar her because she had a big speech in the beginning of it in the flashback,
Right.
and I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, and we might be killing this character. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, actually, this is a good character to keep out there as a in your back
Yeah.
pocket for some Skrull Nick Fury mythos of
Agreed.
as much as the MCU gets shit for killing off its interesting villains, please don't kill your interesting heroes either.
Yeah. I will say I think that there's a version of this show, maybe one that's 10 episodes, that goes more like shows us a little more chronological of Fury falling for this woman, Fury and his Skrull Brigade rising in the ranks of Shield, all the stuff that we've had implied by dialogue but not actually seen.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen some of that stuff instead of just being told about it.
Yeah,
It feels weirdly low budget for a Disney Plus show.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're really keeping that budget low with the scroll. Like, I mean, Les was even was talking to me like, okay, why are Talos and his daughter talking to each other as humans on this park bench where there's no one else?
Right. When there's no one else there. Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
well, you can argue that they, to keep up the appearances, they always do it, or like this is just the form that that they feel more comfortable in, or like. But yeah,
Yeah.
we all know it's for the budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
also
should have
think-
turned back into Hulk. Oh, please, God, not on camera.
I also wish that the paranoia of anyone could be a Skrull, they could have dialed that up a lot. I think they could dial that up
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot farther than they
Yeah,
have.
well, I mean, it was there in the first couple episodes, and now it feels
Yeah.
like I don't know. They should have shown a thing of like they have a code thing or phrase to where they are very sure that like the small group of characters here are not Skrulls or
Yeah.
their versions of them of like because
It would be nice if they had countermeasures because they're all smart to be very smart spies.
well, Les was telling me like, well, how do you keep Skrulls from imitating other Skrulls of like couldn't they
Yeah.
like any Skrull be Talos?
right.
Which they've done before of like him using Talos's voice to try and take Nick Fury in the last episode, but
Yeah.
it feels like they do need to know a lot about the person, and like they download the memories, and like they can't one off, like they can look like you, but they have no idea how you sound or act, or
Right. Yeah.
so if you're a trained spy, it's a easy spot maybe. Like that's why they're not
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
infiltrate, like, because when Rhodey, the second conversation with Rhodey, I was thinking, yeah, you're selling the roadiness of this pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah. He feels like Rhodey.
He feels like Rhodey, but like someone trying to be too much like Rhodey all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, this Pappy Van Winkle is the bomb or whatever. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you're putting a little extra on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, I think I'm still really liking the show. I want to see where it's going, but I am at that point where of like I feel like we should be further along than this.
Yeah.
And I feel like y'all have killed off a couple really good characters to try and make your Gravik guy seem like a badass.
Honestly, I'm
And
like,
I'm still not buying it.
I know it would be cheap to do another fake out death with Talos, but
But yeah,
oh man, I can't tell you how much I like that character.
yeah,
Which is surprising because he's a small B character from one of the other movies,
right. But he's very likable every time you see
but
him.
he's been very good in this show. Like, I know they're gonna probably replace him with Amelia Clark, basically.
Yeah.
Still, I think,
Yeah, actually, if they did a if they did a thing and reveal basically that Maria Hill's still alive and Talos is still alive, I wouldn't be upset about it at all.
yeah, it would be like you'd forgive the narrative,
Yep.
like yeah, but these are pretty cool
Yeah.
characters. So I'm gonna,
Render all
Yeah.
6 episodes moot, but I don't care. That'd be fun.
No, I don't care. Yeah, it'd be fine. And if as long as the end result is that they had a threat in Gravik and his insurgency and they put him down, then the show still has consequences and it still works.
yeah.
So
Well, I feel like
I
no
don't know
matter
what's
what
gonna
they
happen these last two
do, the
episodes.
Skrulls are gonna be kind of as seen by at least like government organizations as a new threat.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was a little less you flagged this last time when Gaia and Talos are talking on the bench. She basically is like, "Okay, tell me what your plan is to get us a home." And he has kind of this mealy mouth, which she calls immediately like he's like, "Well, this is going to happen, and then they'll have to give us a home." And she's like, "You're crazy. That's not going to
Yeah.
happen." But
Yeah,
also,
we just keep showing them we're good and opening our hearts and like, man,
Yeah,
have you
but-
studied human history at all?
I love that she like, tell me your plan, because Gravik's already doing his, and his is
Yeah.
working.
And it works.
yeah. Well, I think Les, you flagged this last time. What he should have said is, "Look, if Gravik's plan works, don't you think the Kree are going to just wipe this planet out just like they did our last one?"
Yes.
Yeah.
No one's mentioned that. No
Well,
one's
that's
mentioned
what
that at all.
no, Nick and I were just yelling of like, hey, yeah, you're leaving unspoken the like Korean proud. I mean,
Yes.
Skrull and proud is all great, but
They're trying to
as
like
soon
do
as you reveal yourselves, the Kree are
the Kree
still
are going-
here.
don't you want to live in your own skin? And I'm like, they should sell more that that Talos is dealing with youngins, and
Yeah.
Talos is part
Like,
of an old
he's like,
guard
you-
that they're
yeah,
the only ones
yeah.
that remember the war, and like, you fucking moron kids, you don't
Yeah.
understand what we went through.
So
Yeah.
where's Talos hanging out with other Skrulls complaining about like they're gonna get us killed? They don't remember because
They don't.
you
Yeah.
could hear, you can really feel some like World War II vet kind of
Yes.
vibe here.
They were children during it, so they remember enough to be bitter about it, but not the actual consequences of, do you realize we are almost an extinct race because of the shit you're talking about, right?
And the thing is, like, no, it feels like the writers forgot about it. Like, it doesn't feel like
Mhm.
Talos isn't
Yes.
talking about it.
Yes.
It feels like the writers forgot.
It feels
that
like
this is a tool
something
they
they're
have.
intentionally not bringing up,
Yeah.
when it's an easy argument for Talos to make of like, no, I don't want to
Maybe that's-
hide, but it's what we gotta do to like,
Maybe that's why. Maybe they just didn't want to deal with it. But I'm like, you kind of have to because it is the elephant in the room of like, hey, what about the Kree?
well, I
Yeah.
mean, like Gravik's plan didn't even make sense until they had Super Skrulls, and even then, even with Super
Yeah.
Skrulls, I'm like, cool, the Kree have like still an empire going on, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
If Gravik's plan should account for the Kree, and all they need is one line where they basically she says something about like, he tells her like the Kree will destroy us, and you're like, Gravik has a plan for the Kree. Like
Sure.
that's all you need. You don't have to tell me what it is. You just tell me that he has one, and I'll be like, okay,
Okay.
you guys have thought about this. But like, just it feels like the writers forgot about
You could
it.
at least say that like he has a plan for the Kree, but they stop it before it even gets to that point, so that we never have to worry about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I realize that I'm not gonna, because we don't have the Fantastic Four, I'm not gonna get quite the Super Skrull that I really want. But
Right,
I did
yeah.
want all 4 powers flexed at once in quadrants.
They'll do
Yeah.
that at the end.
Like that's the Super Skrull look I want.
They'll do it
and
in
I
the
hate
final
to say it,
episode.
why do I get the sinking feeling that when I want Marvel to do the costumes right, I'm gonna have to wait for it to show up in a Deadpool movie.
Now, here's the thing. They might, if they decide to do what Marvel always does and do a big CGI fest at the end, War Machine might throw down with Super Skrull, and it will be him using all the powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only shot you have at it here, I think.
Yeah, and
But
I
I
think
don't-
you're
I
right. I think Rhodey appearing and being very mad that he was
Yeah.
replaced.
Mm-hmm. I think I guess you can, but I can't imagine you have Don Cheadle playing Rhodey and you don't have War Machine at some point.
Right?
I would hope not, but we'll see.
I would-
2 episodes
we'll
to
see.
go.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the last episode's an hour long or something. Or an hour and a half. I don't know. But it feels, we used to complain about Netflix being like, guys, you need to be doing shorter seasons. But this is too short. And Moon Knight was too. And I feel like Disney's gone the other way.
I think Moon Knight was the right length. And I feel like if it had been lengthened, we would have felt the bloat. But it's hard to
may
argue
be right,
because it's like a backseat driving.
Yeah, sure,
Can't
yeah.
really tell. This is the first time I have agreed with you of like 10 might have been the number here.
Yeah, we maybe could have used more. And I still think Miss Marvel could have used more, but that's just
because I think 8 was perfect for She-Hulk. I think 8 was perfect for Winter Soldier. In fact, Winter Soldier felt like they kind of stretched to hit 8. Like I felt 7 could have been good for Winter Soldier and Falcon.
I agree with those. Both of those I think worked at 8. But yeah, I think 8 is the episode length. I think 6 is too short.
I think it was good that you wanted more Moon Knight. Like you
Yeah,
felt like you wanted
you're
more.
probably right.
But
You're probably right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I like this. I just have a long time bitching about it, but I really like this. And it is sort of the Jean Le Carre MCU thing, which I really
as
dig.
far as a secret spy show for MCU, this is exactly what I wanted. Like this is very like let's say this is the Shield show we deserve.
Yeah, it is. But there's some things I wish we were getting more Olivia Colman. They're definitely underusing her. I think they're underusing.
Dude, yeah, we didn't even see her
Rhodes.
this episode.
She's not even in this episode. Yeah, I think they're underusing some of their really strong elements of this. But I also think they're really got to be pretty tight with 6 episodes. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next. I mean, it's still a Wednesday morning watch every time. I'm still very excited about it. But I wish I was excited about this as I was about, say, Hijack or the next episode of Adventures of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm much more excited about Supes.
Right now, I'm more of the, I want to see what happens, but it's not like grabbing me as much as I would like it to. I mean, it's as bad as that 3rd season of Ted Lasso that everybody hated.
Wish that had been good.
Which wasn't the episode, which wasn't the season that they showed, but it was clearly the ones that some people were watching. I don't know it wasn't the one I saw.
Like it's just like I would love to find out that the TV dudes have the only version of Ted Lasso that's actually good. Like no one else knows what we're talking about.
They saw the Berenstain Ted Lasso episode.
Right.
Football is life. He doesn't say that. What are you talking about? He said football. He says football is life. Wait, I feel like we're saying the same thing.
I think that wraps it up for us. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, dudes.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Remind you can go to our patreon.com/tvdudes and throw us that $1 an episode and listen to us talk about Leonardo Leeds. Apparently very important to say the Leonardo part.
Pretty important.
Among other things. And until next time.
Foosball is life.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.